Okay, will Neymar be on the Brazilian squad for the World Cup, Ale?
He has a better chance now than he did before, given the injury to Rodrigo. Fitness has been a problem and continues to be a problem. And even when he was fit, wasn't playing at a high level consistently.
Brazil have moved on from Neymar. But then another big match arrives, another difficult moment appears, another game becomes emotionally chaotic. And suddenly Brazil still look like a team missing something. Or more specifically, someone. Because even in 2026, after injuries, criticism, pressure, and years of debate, Neymar Jr. still feels emotionally connected to everything Brazil do. And honestly, recent performances only restarted the discussion. During Brazil's latest international matches and Neymar's recent return to competitive football after injury setbacks, fans immediately noticed something familiar again: the calmness and creativity. Because this isn't really about nostalgia anymore, it's about balance, leadership, experience, and pressure. Brazil still have talented young stars, but talent has never been Brazil's problem. The real problem starts when matches become tense and Brazil stop controlling possession. And that's why the Neymar conversation refuses to disappear. So how did Brazil reach this point? Why does one of the most criticized players of his generation still feel so important to the national team? And why, after even everything, does Brazil in 2026 still look incomplete without Neymar? Let's start from the beginning. From the moment Neymar exploded at Santos, Brazil treated him differently. Not just as a star, as the future. And honestly, maybe too much of the future. By the time the 2014 World Cup arrived, Neymar wasn't simply Brazil's best player anymore, he had become the emotional face of an entire football nation desperate to heal old scars. Every commercial, every headline, every expectation, everything centered around him. And during the early stages of the tournament, he actually delivered. Goals, confidence, energy, Neymar carried the pressure like someone much older than he really was. But that dependence slowly became dangerous. Because Brazil weren't just building around Neymar tactically, that's why his injury against Colombia changed the atmosphere of the entire nation immediately. Suddenly, Brazil looked mentally broken before the semifinal even started, and then came the 7-1 against Germany. One of the darkest nights in football history. Even though Neymar didn't play that match, the collapse revealed something important. Without Neymar, Brazil suddenly looked rushed, exposed, and disconnected. And honestly, 10 years later, that problem still hasn't fully disappeared. And once Neymar became the face of Brazilian football so early, the criticism surrounding him eventually became much bigger than football itself. The hairstyles, the diving accusations, the injuries, the drama, every replay became a meme. Every foul reaction spread online within minutes, and suddenly the tournament felt less about Brazil and more about Neymar himself. That became especially intense during the 2018 World Cup. Every foul reaction became memes online, every dramatic fall created criticism globally, and suddenly, Neymar's actual performances got buried under internet narratives. But inside Brazil, the situation was more complicated. Because even while critics attacked him constantly, Brazil still depended on him creatively more than any other player. Against Belgium in the quarterfinal, Neymar created chances, carried attacks, and remained Brazil's main source of unpredictability. But once Belgium took control emotionally, Brazil struggled again. And that became a pattern throughout Neymar's international career. Whenever Neymar started receiving freely between midfield and defense, Brazil suddenly looked unpredictable again. When opponents isolated him emotionally or physically, the entire attack often became predictable. That's why Brazil's relationship with Neymar became so strange. They criticized him constantly, but still needed him in every major tournament. But while Neymar kept facing criticism, Brazil slowly realized replacing him wouldn't be as simple as producing another talented winger. One thing people constantly say is, Brazil have enough young talent now. And technically they do. Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Endrick. The talent pool is incredible. But replacing Neymar was never just about replacing skills. It was about replacing responsibility. Because Neymar doesn't just create goals. Without Neymar, Brazil's attacks often become too direct too early. The midfield gets bypassed, possessions disappear quickly, and transitions start happening constantly. Against Argentina during difficult Copa America matches, you could see Brazil struggling emotionally whenever the game became tense or chaotic. The attack often became disconnected, players started forcing actions individually instead of controlling the game collectively. That's where Neymar still matters enormously. Not because he's perfect, but because he understands the emotional rhythm of international football better than most players in the squad. And honestly, experience like that becomes priceless at World Cups. And just when Brazil still needed him most, another major problem started changing Neymar's career completely. One of the saddest parts of Neymar's career is this: his body never fully allowed his talent to exist consistently. Every time Neymar built momentum, another injury interrupted it. And the knee injury against Uruguay during World Cup qualifiers became one of the most painful moments of all. Neymar left the pitch crying, and fears immediately grew about his international future. That injury changed the entire conversation around him. Suddenly, people weren't debating whether Neymar was world-class anymore, they were asking whether Brazil would ever see the best version of him again. But something interesting happened during his recovery period.